I quickly wanted to make a video to give people the option of not playing Torch on a heal Scourge, while still covering all the boons a healer should be bringing. I'll go a bit into what it loses and what it gains, but if you're not interested in the explanation, you can skip straight to the rotation using the timestamps. So let's get started with why this build even exists. As you might know, Torch is a very restrictive weapon, as you have to build your entire rotation around Torch 5's cooldown, because its might duration is as long as its cooldown. And it's a very big part of your might, so if you delay it by even a split second, you're dropping a big chunk of might. And that restrictive nature also causes your utility weapons, like Staff, to not be as effective. Because whenever you want to swap to Staff and Torch 5 doesn't allow it, you just can't without dropping might, and then not fulfilling your healer role properly. So this variant does away with that restriction, so you can use those utility weapons more freely whenever you want to. There are of course trade-offs for dropping Torch. As you'll want the Curses straight line, you won't be running Soul Reaping, so your Shade cooldowns are higher, which means less barrier and healing from them. You'll also be running 2 utility skills for Might, so it's a bit more restrictive on that front. However, you can now more freely use stability from Staff without worrying about dropping Might. So Trail of Anguish isn't as needed anymore, so in some cases it evens out. So I'll quickly go over the traits to indicate which ones are important and which ones you can switch out. So as I said before, there's no Soul Reaping trait line because we need a specific trait in the Curses straight line. The empty columns you can just fill in whatever you want, but we need Master of Corruption to reduce the cooldown of Blood is Power, so it is able to give more might. In Blood Magic you have Transfusion, of course, you never swap it out because it is literally the only reason that Staff is even considered a support weapon. In the first column you have Overflowing Thirst, which is an insane trait if you're using a dagger, as it adds a whole lot of sustain healing to it. But if you're not running a dagger, for example if you're using pistol for extra CC, you can swap to Ritual of Life to have some extra rezzing power. Do not get baited by this trait, however, because it will turn your Well of Blood into a res skill, but Well of Blood is simultaneously your biggest heal skill. So don't save it to res someone, try to use it before they even go into a down state. Prevent the down state in the first place. In the middle column we have 2 healing traits, so Life from Death is a bit more bursty and Vampiric Presence is a bit more sustain. Banshee's Wail is also an option if you want to camp Staff more, which is mainly the case if you're not running Overflowing Thirst with a dagger, because at that point the Warhorn set is not healing a lot, so you want to kind of stay on Staff a bit. And what Banshee's will do is it will increase the swiftness on Warhorn 5, so you have to swap to it less often. For your boon rotation, you'll mainly be pressing a lot of stuff off cooldown. Your Blood is Power and Desiccate for Fury and most of your might. F1 and F5 for Alacrity, they'll also give a little bit of might, and F5 will cover most of your protection. F4 is there for the remaining protection through the Transfusion trait, and will also proc Midnight King Relic for the last bit of might that you're missing. You want to press your Warhorn 5 frequently. It depends on which trait you take, but it's every 30 seconds or 45 seconds. And depending on how much you camp your Warhorn set or Staff set, you'll want to dodge or use Staff 2 frequently for your regen and vigor. That's all there is to upkeeping your boons. If you've got any more questions, feel free to ask them and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability.